After being reborn, my best friend boasted to me, I confessed to the crush you've been secretly in love with for 3 years, and he agreed. Instead of silently blessing them and stepping aside like I did in my previous life, I stared straight at her and asked, aren't you shameless? The dorm room was filled with the cloyingly sweet scent of cheap perfume, nauseatingly thick. Zhou stood before my bed, her fingers twirling the ends of her newly permed curls, her eyes scanning me in circles. With a smile brimming from the corners of her eyes to the tips of her brows, her voice was deliberately softened, carrying an irrepressible excitement. Wanwan, I have some happy news to share with you. I confessed to Chinsu, and he agreed. We're officially together now. Zhou tilted her head, observing my reaction. Her face seemed cautious, but her eyes were filled with pride. I know you've liked him for a long time, but feelings are something you just can't control, since he chose me. You'll definitely wish us well, right? I was struggling to shake off the dizziness from being reborn, and I could still see the panicked face of the driver who caused the accident. I was just trying to sort out the timeline when I heard those words, and instantly remembered, this was the day she successfully confessed to Chinsu, the guy I had a crush on for 3 years. In my previous life, it was this very sentence that broke me. I remember my mind going completely blank at that moment. My heart aching as if being struck repeatedly by a blunt object. Looking at her guilty expression and hearing her words hoping for my blessing, I forced back the heart-wrenching pain and managed a smile uglier than crying. This is a good thing. I should wish you both happiness. Then, like a deserter, I fled the dormitory, withdrew from Chinsu's world, and, with that self-proclaimed noble sacrifice and selflessness, swallowed the bitterness of unrequited love alone. It wasn't until 10 years later at a class reunion, when everyone had drunk too much, that I learned from my roommate about Zhou little schemes. You were so close to her back then, we didn't dare say anything, but privately, who didn't know she was a copycat, always imitating you, and in the end, she even got together with Chinsu just to spite you. We all saw through her. But you were the only one foolishly blinded by the situation. After leaving the bar, I was in a daze and couldn't dodge in time, getting hit and killed by a drunk driver. In my previous life, I never noticed she was imitating me, thinking it was just a sisterly style, but looking closely in this life, I realized there were many signs. The light blue dress she's wearing is a knockoff of the style I had my eye on but couldn't bring myself to buy. The star earrings dangling from her earlobes are exactly the same as the pair I lost before. The lipstick shade on her lips is a dupe of the color I love to wear. Even her freshly done hairstyle is the one I casually mentioned liking when I passed by the salon before. Seeing me with my head down and not speaking, there was a hint of dissatisfaction in her tone. Wanwan, don't you want to wish us well? You're being so petty. I lifted my head and calmly looked at her hypocritical face, opening my mouth to ask, aren't you shameless? As soon as these words were spoken, the entire dormitory fell silent. The deliberately sweet smile on Zhou face froze. She probably hadn't expected me, who had always been weak, to react this way. Zhao Qing and Li Man, who were in the same dormitory, also stopped what they were doing and looked at me in surprise. The two exchanged glances, as if wondering why Linwan, who had always been good-tempered, had suddenly lashed out, and at her best friend of 3 years in college, no less. Linwan, what did you say? Zhou voice trembled slightly, less with anger and more with disbelief. I stood up, my gaze sweeping over her entire outfit, from her hairstyle to the hem of her skirt, from her perfume to her accessories. Under my sharp stare, she nervously touched her earlobe, avoiding my gaze. My voice was clear, filled with disgust. I said, aren't you shameless? You knew I liked Chinsu. How many times have I told you from freshman to junior year? Just last week, you hugged me and said, Wanwan, don't be sad, he'll notice you one day. And now, just a few days later, you confess to him. Couldn't you control yourself? Zhou face flushed and paled in turns. She had imagined I might cry, make a scene, break down, or even quietly withdraw, but she never expected me to confront her so directly and tear down all pretense. Her eyes instantly reddened, her acting skills coming on cue. Linwan, how could you say that about me? Chinsu and I have only chatted a few times, but I never expected we'd hit it off so well. Who can control matters of the heart? I told you first because I consider you my best friend. I let out a cold laugh. Best friend, Zhou, drop that hypocritical act. It's truly disgusting. In your mind, is a best friend someone you deliberately observe, imitate, and then steal from? One of my 2 roommates cursed, calling her a copycat, the words cutting sharply through the silence. Zhou's face turned ashen as she shot them both a fierce glare. I took a step closer, my fingers lightly brushing over Zhou's skirt. This skirt is a knockoff of the one I had my eye on, isn't it? The original costs 3,800, but yours can't be more than 100. I brushed away her hand that was trying to cover her earlobe, revealing the pair of earrings. These earrings are exactly the same as the pair I lost. On the day I lost them, you were the only one who came to my desk. saying you were looking for nail polish, and then my earrings went missing. Zhou Wei's eyes darted around, but as usual, she put on a fierce front. What do you mean? Do you think I stole your stuff? There are so many people in the dorm. Why do you suspect me? How can you prove these are yours? I bought these myself. Zhao Qing had just been glared at by her and felt quite displeased. Upon hearing this, she asked, then show me the evidence. The receipt or purchase record. I bought it offline. And I threw away the receipt. I took out my phone and pointed it at her face. My earrings were custom made at a gold shop after I finished the college entrance exam, with my initials engraved on them. Take them off now, and we'll confront each other. If they don't have LW written on them, I'll kneel down and apologize to you. If they do, I'll call the police immediately. Her face turned deathly pale. Why should I have to prove myself? You have no right to check me. I looked at my two roommates, who were rolling their eyes. Call the police. Someone stole gold jewelry worth over 3,000 yuan. Li Man met my gaze and quickly took out her phone to dial 110. Zhou Wei screamed and lunged forward, knocking the phone out of her hand. Don't call the police. The phone fell to the ground, its screen shattering into a spiderweb pattern. Now it's settled. Not only do I want to call the police, but Li Man also wants to report it. In the counselor's office, with video evidence, Zhou Wei couldn't deny it. The counselor was practically glaring daggers at her. She truly hadn't expected that, with graduation just around the corner, there would still be students causing trouble. She comforted us and discussed settling the matter privately, urging us not to call the police. When the counselor was earnestly persuading us, Zhou Wei stood behind her, staring at me with a gloomy look and rolling her eyes at me. I didn't let her get away with it. I immediately took a photo and handed my phone to the counselor. Advisor, you're so considerate of her, but it seems Zhou Wei doesn't appreciate it. She rolled her eyes at you. Could it be that she thinks you're meddling in her business? The counselor's already grim expression turned even uglier. I will give you an explanation for this matter. You can go back for now. Zhou Wei, you stay. In the hallway, the three of us didn't leave immediately after closing the door. Instead, we pressed our ears against it to listen to what was happening inside. Sure enough, the counselor's furious voice soon echoed out. Zhou Wei, you don't even have the right attitude to admit your mistakes now. Do you realize that if they had reported this to the police, it would have gone on your record? In the future, hearing her get thoroughly scolded finally made us feel better. When the sky began to darken, the counselor informed us that the matter had been resolved. Zhou Wei compensated Li Man with a new phone, returned the earrings to me, and offered us a sincere apology, even writing a handwritten apology letter. Out of respect for the counselor, we accepted the apology. After everyone left, I casually tossed the earrings into a container of disinfectant alcohol. Zhou Wei, seeing this, asked with reddened eyes, Lin Wan, what do you mean by that? Do you think I'm dirty? I'm really fed up. I'm not going to indulge her. Having lived a second life, I won't indulge anyone. Zhou Wei looked at my wardrobe, which I hadn't had time to close, and asked, Lin Wan, why are you packing your clothes? I glanced at her and spoke calmly. To donate. The junior organized a charity second-hand sale, and all proceeds will go to impoverished children in the mountains. Most of the clothes in my closet are almost identical to hers, and just looking at them makes me uncomfortable, so I decided to donate them all. What? How dare you donate them? How can I wear the same clothes as those poor bastards in the mountains? Before the words had even finished, a knock came from the door. Zhao Xiaoyu, the junior in charge of the charity event, was standing at the door, holding a registration book in her hands, her smile somewhat awkward. The two girls behind her, who were helping with the moving, also froze in place, not stepping forward. Only then did Zhou Wei see the people at the door, her expression instantly stiffening, the color draining from her face. The dormitory hallway was very quiet. Her sharp words, poor trash from the mountains, just now echoed in the empty corridor, and people from several nearby dorm rooms had come out and gathered at our dorm door. Zhao Xiaoyu spoke first, her voice soft but audible to everyone nearby. Senior Zhou Wei, our public welfare activities have been running for 3 years, helping over 400 children from mountainous areas realize their dreams of education. We don't expect you to participate, but we hope you can show the most basic respect for others. Zhou Wei's face flushed purple again, her mouth agape but unable to speak. Zhao Qing and Li Man took the opportunity to squeeze into the crowd and share the story of Zhou Wei and me with them. All the surrounding dormitories are from the same department, and everyone knows each other. Over the 3 years of university, it has been evident to all how Zhou Wei has taken advantage of me, used my things, and imitated me. The pointing and whispering from the people around made Zhou Wei feel utterly ashamed. She crouched on the ground, burying her face in her hands. While everyone was gathered, I reached out my hand toward Zhou Wei. You've been borrowing things from me since freshman year, and you've never returned most of them. Give them all back to me now. She was panting heavily, glaring at me with gritted teeth. I waved my phone, the screen showing the pre-dialed emergency number. She had no choice but to start rummaging through her things, placing items on my desk. From the crowd of classmates, gasps of surprise could be heard from time to time. Huh? Didn't Zhou Wei say that bracelet was a birthday gift from her dad? She said this dress was specially ordered from Hong Kong, very expensive, and she wouldn't even let anyone touch it. Weren't these the shoes she specifically changed into last time it rained? So they were someone else's shoes. No wonder she didn't care about them. My desk quickly piled up with items, from small bracelets and necklaces to large coats and boots. There was nothing she wouldn't borrow. Li Man sneered. Zhou Wei, did you come to school empty-handed? You might as well ask Linwan to borrow underwear. Enough, Zhou Wei roared. Haven't I contributed at all? I occasionally help Linwan get meals, pick up her packages, and I just use a bit of her shampoo, borrow a lipstick, wear a couple of her clothes. Does that count as stealing? You're all bullying me. You're all in this together. Fine, I'll leave. After saying that, she sprang up from the ground like a crazed beast and charged through the crowd, blocking the door. Those left behind exchanged bewildered glances, and even after the crowd dispersed, I could still hear someone muttering softly, "Is she still not weaned? Thinking she can threaten anyone like this is just laughable." I sorted through the things Zhou Wei had returned, picked out what was still usable, and packed them all up to give to Zhao Xiaoyu. Zhao Xiaoyu looked at me with sparkling eyes. Senior, are all these to be donated? I nodded. Yes, the money can buy many books for the children. Thank you for your support, Senior. We'll put your name at the top of the list. The three young girls happily walked away, carrying their things. After the crowd dispersed, Zhou Wei immediately returned to the dormitory. Zhao Qing and Li Man exchanged a glance, their eyes filled with even more disdain, and they kept rolling their eyes. Zhou Wei stood before me with an air of condescension. Lin Wan, you're jealous of me. Seeing that I remained silent, she assumed she had guessed my thoughts and grew even more smug. You're jealous that I've won Chinsu's love. She gently stroked her hair, striking a triumphant pose. Chinsu chose me. Do you know why? You're always buried in books, looking like a total nerd. What guy would be interested, if you can't manage to attract anyone? Don't blame me, these were her true thoughts. In my previous life, she had said the first part of these words to me jokingly during our graduation photo session. I continued editing my resume on the computer, too lazy to look at her twisted face again. Whether I'm a nerd or not isn't for you to judge. As for Chinsu, if you like him, take him. But Zhou Wei, does getting Chinsu really make you so happy that you have to show off to me? Who's jealous of whom here? Yeah. And you even imitate her all the time. I won't say who's jealous. Those words seemed to hit Zhou Wei right where it hurt. Lin Wan, you'll regret this. Zhou Wei completely lost her composure, grabbed her small bag from the table, shot me a fierce glare, and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. The dorm room fell silent once again. After a few seconds, Zhao Qing spoke up softly. Are you okay, Wan? I turned my head and smiled at them, this time with genuine sincerity. I'm fine. It's good. I should have done this a long time ago. Li Man walked over and patted my shoulder. We've been feeling that something was off about Zhou Wei for a while. She's always imitating you, sometimes in the way she talks, sometimes in her little mannerisms. It's really unsettling. Keeping your distance from her is the right move. Thank you. In my previous life, after I quietly stepped back, they had also subtly expressed their dissatisfaction with Zhou Wei. At the time, however, I was too absorbed in my own sorrow to pay it any mind. With Zhou Wei slamming the door like that, she probably went straight to Chinsu to pour out her grievances. Sure enough, in less than half an hour, my phone rang. It was Chinsu. In my previous life, he also took the initiative to call me. I was so excited that my hands were trembling, but when I answered, I heard his polite yet distant voice on the other end of the line. He tactfully asked me to stop bothering him, and finally said, Lin Wan, you're a good girl, but we're not a good match. Zhou Wei and I are soulmates, and I hope you can bless us. At that time, I held the phone, tears streaming silently down my face, and choked out a yes. Now then, I answered the call, put it on speakerphone, casually placed the phone on the table, and continued organizing my job application resume. The other two also gathered around. Chinsu's voice came through, carrying a hint of barely noticeable irritation. Lin Wan, Wei Wei is here with me, and she's crying very hard. She says you're leading the bullying against her in the dorm. I'm so disappointed in you. You need to apologize to Wei Wei right now and return the things you took from her. Then I'll consider persuading Wei Wei to forgive you. Zhao Qing and Li Man were so angry they kept pounding their thighs. I gave them a reassuring smile. My fingers didn't stop typing, and my tone remained calm and steady. If asking her to return the things she borrowed from me in a reasonable and lawful way counts as bullying, then go ahead and sue me. The person on the other end of the phone seemed to choke for a moment, clearly not expecting me to be so blunt. Linwan, Weiwei told me that you've always had feelings for me, seeing us together has made you uncomfortable, so you've been targeting her, but you can't force feelings, you understand. I immediately understood his implication. He was trying to frame me as bitter and resentful over unrequited love. That way, any action I took against Zhou Wei would be dismissed as jealousy. I stopped typing, leaned toward the phone, and spoke clearly and firmly. Chinsu, first of all, whatever slight affection I had for you was completely erased the moment you got together with Zhou Wei. You don't need to be troubled by it. And please don't flatter yourself. Secondly, Zhou Wei's behavior today was a provocation to me, a show-off, and a way of stepping on my 3 years of genuine feelings to climb higher. Cutting ties with her and demanding she return the items is to make her wake up a bit, not to mistake others' politeness for weakness. Thirdly, I paused, my voice growing even colder. Whatever happens between the two of you is none of my business, but please keep your person in check. Don't let her, knowing she's in the wrong, squat on the ground wailing like a 3-year-old and then send someone to warn me, wasting my time. I'm very busy and have no interest in playing along with this love triangle drama. After saying this, I didn't wait for any response from the other end. I hung up the phone directly and blocked the number. Zhao Qing and Li Man looked at me with starry eyes, as if they were meeting me for the first time. Li Man was the first to break the silence, giving me a thumbs up. Wan, you're amazing. Zhao Qing also looked impressed. Seriously, that was epic. Chinsu probably never got shut down like that before. For the next few days, Zhou Wei didn't come back to the dorm, but at some point, rumors about me started spreading quietly within the department. Everyone said that I, Linwan, had been pining for Chinsu for years without success, and out of jealousy and resentment, I insulted my roommate and led the bullying. Occasionally, when I ran into strangers on the road, I could feel some odd glances. Chinsu and Zhou Wei often come and go together, with Zhou Wei nestling close to Chinsu. Occasionally, when our eyes meet, she quickly looks away, putting on a fragile victim act. But people aren't fools. Overdone slander can backfire and provoke resistance. Classmates who witnessed her returning the items in the dorm that day spontaneously clarified the situation for me. And I also expressed my gratitude on social media to those who spoke up for me. I poured all my energy into job hunting after graduation. Seeing that I ignored her underhanded tactics, Zhou Wei couldn't hold back any longer. In the library, after getting water and returning to my seat, I found that someone had written "bitch's special seat" on the chair with a marker. I happened to be wearing a white skirt, and if I wasn't careful, the words would transfer onto it. The handwriting was crooked, clearly an attempt to conceal the writer's identity. Students at nearby seats seemed to notice something unusual, glancing over furtively before quickly lowering their heads and returning to their own tasks. I didn't immediately raise my voice to question, nor did I show any expression of surprise or anger. I took out my phone, adjusted the angle, and took several close-up shots of the contaminated chair. Then I turned on the recording function, held the phone in my hand, and walked toward the classmate nearest to my seat. "Excuse me, classmate," I said softly but clearly, while I was away getting water. "Did you notice anyone approaching my seat?" The classmate was taken aback, clearly not expecting me to ask so directly. He glanced at my chair, a flicker of embarrassment and sympathy crossing his face, but he still shook his head. "I didn't see it. I was just working on a problem." "Thank you." I then turned to a girl sitting diagonally behind me. "Classmate, what about you? Did you see anything?" The girl nervously waved her hand. "I did see someone come and go, but I thought it was you, so I didn't pay much attention." I asked 3 or 4 nearby classmates in a row, and all I got were vague answers. This was expected. In the library, everyone is focused on their own tasks. Who would specifically pay attention to others? Moreover, the person who did this must have seized the right moment, but my goal wasn't to find this person immediately, it was to show a determined attitude to get to the bottom of it. Finally, I found the library's duty teacher and showed her the photos and recordings. The teacher frowned, a clear look of anger on his face. "How could this happen? Which student is so outrageous?" "Don't worry, classmate. I'll contact the security office and the surveillance room right away." The security staff also asked me in detail if I had any conflicts with anyone recently, and I answered truthfully. The next day, as I walked out of the library, Chinsu caught up with me. "Linwan, I heard about what happened yesterday. Could it be that you're being overly sensitive? Maybe it was just someone's prank. There's no need to make such a big deal out of it. Sometimes it's better to be forgiving." I stood still, Silently cursing myself for having such poor judgment, my crush had turned into rubbish. Are you here to plead for Joe Wei? No, it's just that I feel you're being a bit too aggressive. If it were me, I would definitely just laugh it off and not let it escalate like this. I took out paper and pen, wrote the 4 big characters impotent man on the spot, and handed it to him. How about you experience it firsthand? As long as you can laugh it off with this, I'll agree to settle. He left in a furious rage. Lin Wan, if it weren't for Wei Wei, I wouldn't even glance at someone like you. 3 days later, a disciplinary notice was posted on the bulletin board, with Chen Su's name clearly written on it. After learning the whole story, even Li Men couldn't help but exclaim, it seems they are truly in love. He even took the punishment for her. Zhao Qing also clicked her tongue in amazement. Maybe because Chen Su comes from a well-off family and doesn't need to worry about job hunting, but if Zhou Wei gets this disciplinary action, she can forget about next month's campus recruitment. This disciplinary action proved effective. Chen Su and Zhou Wei completely disappeared from my sight, and all the rumors about me vanished without a trace. The atmosphere in the dormitory lightened up. Zhao Qing and Li Man firmly stood by my side, and the 3 of us started having meals together, studying together, and discussing our future plans. Campus recruitment began. I have a clear goal and head straight for my previous employer, Chiming Technology, queuing, submitting my resume, and communicating with the HR representative. Everything went smoothly. The HR representative was very interested in me and asked me to wait, saying they would invite the department head for a second interview. Just then, Zhou Wei's voice rang out. Lin Wan, are you here to apply to Chiming too? She was dressed exceptionally elegantly today, wearing a well-tailored suit, with perfect makeup, holding several resumes in her hand, showing no trace of the disheveled state from a while ago. Chen Su stood half a step behind her, dressed in a suit and leather shoes, but holding nothing in his hands. I hummed in response, lowering my head to continue looking at the materials in my hand. Zhou Wei, however, warmly leaned in close, her voice just loud enough for the few waiting students nearby to hear. I remember Chiming Technology has very high standards. I heard you must have a key discipline from a 985 university or top-tier project experience, otherwise you can't even pass the resume screening. I looked at her, puzzled, the corners of her mouth curled into a malicious smile, her tone feigning pity. Yet a flicker of delight flashed in her eyes. Wan, you mustn't fake your resume just to apply for the job, right? The surroundings fell silent. Everyone's eyes were fixed on me, suspicious, angry, meaningful. Before I could refute, Zhou Wei quickly turned around, facing the approaching HR and supervisor, immediately putting on a sweet and appropriate smile. Before HR could finish introducing me, Zhou Wei took the lead, speaking to the supervisor in an intimate tone. Hello, supervisor, I'm Zhou Wei, Lin Wan's roommate. We have a great relationship. She's just a bit impatient by nature, but she's really hardworking and willing to do anything to achieve her goals. These words sounded like they were speaking up for me, but in reality, every sentence hinted that I was overly eager for quick success and would stop at nothing to achieve my goals. The supervisor's gaze held a bit more scrutiny when he looked at me. I didn't rush to argue back. After the HR gave me a signal, I took half a step forward, faced the supervisor, and spoke with neither arrogance nor humility. Hello, Supervisor, my name is Lin Wan. Thanks to my rebirth, I clearly knew the company's development direction for the next 10 years. I laid out my strengths and insights in one go, speaking at a steady pace and highlighting the key points. A flicker of surprise crossed the supervisor's face, followed by keen interest. He took my resume and attached materials, quickly flipping through them. Zhou Wei's smile froze on her face, and Chen Su also glanced up at me with a complicated look in his eyes. The supervisor pointed to a section on the resume and asked, "Did you complete the data analysis module independently?" "Yes, the data comes from publicly available industry reports and simulation databases, and the conclusion section has been reviewed and endorsed by Professor Zhang from our college. The comments are on the last page of the attachment. I am well prepared, and all the supporting materials for each project are right here." The supervisor nodded and asked 2 in-depth business scenario questions. I provided clear and well-structured answers by combining my observations, personal reflections, and the company's actual situation. "Very good," the supervisor said to HR. "Arrange the next round of professional written test and director interview for student Lin." Then he smiled at me. "Lin, you have keen observation skills and a clear thought process. I look forward to your performance in the future and hope that after your probation period, you can be assigned to my team." "Thank you, supervisor. I will work hard." After seeing the supervisor off, the HR reviewed Zhou Wei's resume, asked a few questions, to which Zhou Wei answered haltingly. When asked about the projects she had worked on and her specific responsibilities, her responses were vague. The HR's attitude noticeably cooled down a lot after taking the resume. She simply told her to go back and wait for notification. It was immediately clear which of us had fabricated our resume. Zhou could no longer maintain her composure, her face alternating between red and pale. Chinsu whispered something to her, trying to pull her away. I gathered my materials and, as I passed by Zhou, I didn't pause my steps, speaking in a voice only the two of us could hear. Zhou, the workplace is not a dormitory. Your little tricks are not presentable. Her body trembled violently, and she reached out to grab me. But Chinsu stopped her abruptly. Do you think you don't have enough legal troubles already? Can't you just calm down, stop opposing Linwan? A few days later, in the evening, while I was preparing for the written exam in the library, Zhao Qing suddenly sent me a link. No justice. A certain bully from the School of Economics and Management is suspected of fabricating her resume. With her instructor's recommendation letter being forged, the post didn't directly name anyone. But the described major, the projects involved, and even the mentioned instructor's surname clearly pointed to me. Insiders confidently claimed that, in order to stand out in the job search, I had fabricated high-profile project experiences and professor recommendation letters. They also hinted that I had a radical personality, had publicly slandered classmates due to personal grudges, and had led bullying that caused significant psychological trauma to my roommate. Fabricating a resume is a fatal stain in the job search. Bullying classmates is universally condemned online. The two offenses of the female bully directly pushed the post to the forum's homepage. The post has already garnered many replies, with some expressing doubt and others just watching the drama unfold. Previously, the incident between Zhou and me was only known within a small circle in our department and hadn't reached the level of being known throughout the entire college. Now, it has spread across the entire internet. Some say true love is blameless, and since Jinsu and I were never officially together, Zhou can't be considered an interloper, so I have no reason to lead the charge in bullying her. Others argue that as best friends, there should be basic principles to follow, knowing full well that a friend has had a long-standing crush, yet still stepping in between is immoral. Some call me a bully, while others label Zhou a manipulative hypocrite. The situation quickly blew up online and has already made it to the trending list on a certain short video platform. I took a deep breath after reading it, never expecting Zhou to hate me so much. Right after that, an unfamiliar call came through. When I answered, Zhou's voice came from the other end. Linwan, do you like the gift I sent you? I'm going to make sure you're forever branded as a bully and a liar. You'll never measure up to me in this lifetime. I didn't understand. Do you really hate me that much? Yes, I hate you. We come from similar backgrounds, so why do your parents love you so much? While mine have always favored my younger brother since we were kids. My voice was calm, which made her sound even more frantic. Is that your reason? Because your parents favored your brother. You hate all girls who receive normal love from their families. Because my parents love me, I became the target of your revenge. Zhou seemed angered by my calmness. Her voice sharp and piercing. You don't understand. You've had everything you wanted since you were a child, coddled and cherished, and me, no matter what I do, I can never measure up to my brother. When I came first in exams, they'd say, what's the use of a girl studying so much? But if my brother just passed, they'd throw a feast to celebrate. At home, I'm nothing but a stepping stone for my brother. She gasped for breath, her voice filled with sharp resentment. I comforted myself, thinking everyone's the same, parents who favor sons over daughters, a brother burdened with high expectations, and a sister who can never do anything right. I had almost managed to fool myself into believing it, but then you came along. Your parents call you every week, send you sweaters when it's cold, give you red envelopes when you do well in school, and your brothers compete to bring you snacks. You take all of this for granted. Why? The bitterness in her tone was so intense it seemed ready to spill over. Why do you get so easily what I can only dream of? I never imagined this was the reason. It took me a long moment to ask. So you're copying me, stealing my things, imitating my ways, taking the person I like. Do you think by doing this, you can become me, steal my life, and get the love and attention you want? Yes, Zhou practically shouted. I want to become you. If I can't have it, you won't get to keep it either. Jinsu is just the beginning. I'm going to ruin your reputation. Let everyone know you're a bully who fakes her resume. Let your family see what a despicable person their precious daughter really is. You don't deserve to be loved at all. Her words were filled with a destructive delight, as if she had already seen me abandoned by everyone and fallen into the mud. I fell silent for a moment. Zhou, you've got one thing wrong. My parents love me because of their sense of responsibility and choice as parents. Similarly, your parents' favoritism is their failure and ignorance. That's their fault, not yours, and certainly not mine. We shouldn't have to pay for their mistakes. You've redirected your hatred for your parents onto me, all because you're too cowardly to confront them, too afraid to face the ones who truly hurt you. So you've made me your imaginary enemy, pouring all your resentment onto me. Do you think ruining me will make your parents turn around and love you? My voice carried a tone of pity. No, you won't. You'll only make yourself more pitiful, more detestable. You've imitated me for 4 years, and in the end, you've gained nothing. On the other end of the phone, Joey's breathing grew increasingly heavy. As for the grand gift you gave me, I think you should first look at the direction in which public opinion is evolving. It's long been out of your control. And now everyone's focus is on the resume fraud, Joey sneered. Now you're scared. Too late. I pointed at the laptop screen, reading a few comments to her. The more she listened, the more silent she became. Now the grudge between us is a minor issue. Online, there's been ongoing suspicion that our college has serious problems with either project fabrication or graduate resume fraud. This matter not only concerns my personal reputation but also the integrity image of all graduates from our college. It would be a devastating blow to the school's reputation. I gently reminded her, you don't need me to intervene. The school leadership will come looking for you. The phone was abruptly hung up. I imagine she must be very flustered right now. I turned and dialed the counselor's number. Teacher, this is Linwan. Regarding the defamatory post about me on the campus anonymous forum, I need to report it to you and the college. The counselor on the other end of the line was taken aback and quickly reassured me, saying they would report it to the college immediately for handling. The college responded swiftly. The next morning, I was called into the office of the deputy secretary of the college's party committee. Zhou Wei and Chen Su were also inside. With a well-dressed middle-aged couple standing nearby, Zhou Wei's eyes were still slightly swollen, and she kept her head lowered. Chen Su's expression was tense, and the atmosphere in the office was quite heavy. Secretary Wang didn't waste any time and got straight to the point. The post on the forum has caused a significant impact. The reason for calling everyone here today is to get to the bottom of this matter. She looked at me, Linwan. What evidence do you have to prove that your resume and experiences are genuine? I calmly opened the folder and placed the prepared materials one by one in front of Secretary Wang. This is the application form for the research project led by Professor Lee that I participated in starting from the second semester of my sophomore year. This is the original letter of recommendation written for me by Professor Zhang. I have obtained Professor Zhang's consent, and the college may verify it with him at any time. I explained the sources and purposes of the materials one by one. Secretary Wang carefully reviewed them, and his expression softened considerably. Secretary Wang turned to Zhou Wei, his voice lowering slightly. Student Zhou Wei, regarding the accusations in the post, what do you have to say? As the person who posted it, who is the informed source you mentioned? The office was so quiet that not a single stray sound could be heard. Zhou Wei's shoulders trembled slightly. When she looked up, tears came as if on cue, and she insisted it wasn't her who posted it. Secretary Wang, advisor, I don't know who posted it. Wan and I are roommates, even though we had some misunderstandings before. How could I possibly do something like this? This must be someone trying to drive a wedge between us. Chen Su spoke up at the right moment, his voice dry and strained. Secretary Wang, there might really be a misunderstanding here. Wei has a straightforward personality and sometimes speaks without thinking, but she would never do something like maliciously spreading rumors to slander a classmate. He then turned to me and asked, Linwan, what makes you so sure that Wei is the one who posted it? Perhaps it was some well-meaning person who knows the whole story and couldn't bear to see Wei being bullied by you, so they stepped forward to uphold justice. Watching their clumsy performance, I felt no emotion. I took out my phone from my pocket and played yesterday's call recording on the spot. Want evidence? Do you? I have it. My gaze turned to Zhou Wei, the color draining from her face bit by bit. This is the evidence I intend to present. Do either of you still have any objections? Chen Su wanted to say something more, but the middle-aged couple stopped him, covering his mouth. You're crazy. Isn't this something anyone with eyes can see? Did she put a curse on you? If you dare speak another word for her, I'll break your legs. I looked directly into Secretary Wang's eyes. If the college deems it necessary, I can also call the police right now. The authorities have the right to access more comprehensive network and surveillance data. Secretary Wang nodded. This is enough. The school will compile this evidence and post it on social media to clarify the situation. As for reporting to the police, the school will likely do so to ensure justice for you and for all the graduates. No, don't report it to the police, Zhou Wei cried out, her face filled with fear. It wasn't me. It really wasn't me. Zhou Wei's lips trembled, tears streaming down her face in a frenzy of fear. I just lost my mind for a moment. On the day of the job fair, I wasn't selected, and when I saw Linwan doing so well, I felt resentful. I was the one who posted it, but I just wanted to cause her a little trouble. I never expected it to blow up like this. I had no idea it would turn out this way. Secretary Wang slammed the table with a sharp thud. Nonsense. Just because you failed in your job search, you maliciously spread rumors, slandered a classmate, fabricated evidence, and ruined her future. Zhou Wei, do you have any idea what you've done? This is a serious moral failing. It's a crime. Zhou Wei was so frightened that she trembled all over, slumped back into her chair, and began to cry. Covering her face, as I walked out of the office, Chen Su, with a sudden burst of strength from who knows where, broke free from his parents' grasp and ran out to block my path. Lin Wan, why can't you just let Wei Wei go? I was a bit confused by his train of thought. Haven't I already let her off? I've left the decision to report to the police up to the school. Isn't that merciful enough? You knew the situation had escalated this much. Why didn't you speak up for her? Watching the Chen family parents rush forward, I raised my voice and said, someone has to bear the consequences. If you can't bear to let her take the fall, then you'll have to take her place. It's not like this is the first time you've covered for her. Anyway, before Chen Su could speak, his parents stepped forward to question him about what punishment he had taken on behalf of Zhou Wei. I seized the opportunity to slip away and return to the library. The school handled the matter very quickly, and the notice was posted 2 days later. Zhou Wei was given a disciplinary demerit for maliciously spreading rumors and slandering classmates, a serious violation of school rules and regulations, which was recorded in her file. Meanwhile, the college ordered her to post a public self-criticism video on social media and issue a real-name apology statement on the original forum. When Zhou Wei read her self-criticism, her voice was as faint as a mosquito's buzz, and her head was almost buried in her chest. The apology post on the forum was stiffly worded, but it finally clarified the matter. The comments below were filled with sighs, and many people lined up in the comment section to apologize to me. Chen Su never showed up again after that day. It is said that he had a big argument with Zhou Wei, and their relationship hit rock bottom. I successfully passed all the interviews at Imitated Technology and was ready to start my internship early. One afternoon, I packed up the last batch of books and prepared to move out of the dormitory to the rented apartment near the company. Zhao Qing and Li Man helped me pack. Just as we were dragging our suitcases downstairs, I was stopped by someone. It was Chen Su. He looked quite haggard, with stubble on his chin and a complex expression in his eyes. Holding a thick craft paper file folder in his hand, Lin Wan, could I take a few minutes of your time? Zhao Qing and Li Man exchanged glances with me and went ahead to wait for me at the door. If there's something to say, just say it here. Chen Su handed over the document folder in his hand. This is for you. I didn't take it. What is it? He did not withdraw his hand. Zhou Wei has dropped out after the punishment was issued. Her family found out and was very angry, not allowing her to continue studying. She herself also felt too ashamed to stay, so she went through the withdrawal procedures and left the school yesterday. I raised an eyebrow. What does this have to do with me? Chen Su's raised hand did not lower. This is what she left behind at my place after leaving school. It's her diary. It records some aspects of her life, including the things she intentionally took from you. Notes on your preferences, clothing, and style, as well as her jealousy toward you. It's all in there. I took it and quickly flipped through the pages, a wave of intense disgust washing over me. Seeing my grim expression, Chen Su's voice grew even softer. There's another one that records me. She believed that taking away the things you liked would make you suffer and prove she was better than you. From start to finish, I was just a joke. He smiled self-deprecatingly. I always thought she and I were soulmates, but it was all just her disguise. What I fell in love with was actually the version of you she imitated. I've realized now that what I truly like is you. I interrupted him. You haven't thought it through. If you really liked me, you should have liked me back in freshman year, because I haven't changed at all. In the end, you're just a greedy visual creature. You only like Zhou Wei's appearance and my inner self. So you've been stringing me along and ultimately chose Zhou Wei, who imitates me. Take your things and don't look for me again. Chen Su's hand froze in midair, the color draining from his face. Lin Wan, he seemed to want to say something more, but I waved my hand to cut him off. I have things to do. I'm leaving first. After saying that, I turned around, dragging my suitcase, and walked toward Zhao Qing and Li Man, who were waiting for me not far away. Arriving at the school gate, the car I called has already arrived. After hugging my two roommates goodbye once more, I got into the car, rolled down the window, and took one last look at the university campus that holds memories from 2 lifetimes. The car slowly started, drove away from the school gate, and merged into the city's afternoon traffic. My phone rang. It was the HR from Imitated Technology, confirming the details of my pre-employment physical examination and the final contract signing, although I have embarked on the same path as in my previous life. I no longer carry the same sense of resentment and attachment in my heart. I will walk more steadily and go further than I did in my last life. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. In my previous life, my mother, who had managed to escape, was found and brought back. This time, there were journalists, police officers, and even a live-streamed variety show. My younger brother loudly questioned her, asking why she had abandoned him. My mother sat in the car crying the whole time. In the end, because my father was in prison and there were no other relatives at home, the responsibility of society forced her to take care of us, so my brother and I followed her to her new family, but that very night, she hanged herself, after being reborn. I returned to the day my brother was about to go on a show to search for his family. I slapped him across the face. Let me say it again, our mother is already dead. Big brother, can you really help me find my mom? She left dad, and she doesn't want me or my sister anymore. Watching dad being taken away in the police car, my little brother immediately knelt on the ground. Uncle police officer, my mom abandoned us and left. You can't take my dad away, otherwise, my sister and I will have no family left. Woo woo, little brother. Don't be afraid, no matter what, we will help you find your mom, yes. We are all big stars, believe in the power of our brothers. Your father broke the law and must go to prison, but it's okay, you still have your mother, and we will all help find her. Fans in the live stream, please also share this to help find the little brother's mother. Hearing this, I jolted awake, watching my younger brother happily run to my side. He took my hand and said excitedly, "See, I told you we could still find mom. She can never abandon us." I felt as if I had been plunged into an ice cellar, and I slapped him across the face. I told you, Mom is already dead. For a moment, I wanted to drag him down with me to our doom, to prevent him from harming Mom in the future. I need to find an opportunity. My younger brother was knocked to the ground by me and immediately burst into tears. How dare you hit me? I'm going to have Grandma break your legs, you little brat. Those big stars and kind-hearted people rushed over to comfort him. But I remained unmoved, because I had been reborn. In my previous life, a big celebrity came to our small mountain village to film a variety show. They wanted to experience rural life but accidentally exposed the fact that this mountain village was a trafficking village. My 50-year-old lame father was arrested because he had trafficked several women and also caused the deaths of several others. My younger brother cried and threw tantrums for several days. So the production team decided to help us find our missing mother. Sure enough, with the power of a big celebrity, within 3 days, my mother was brought before us. My brother cursed at her, "You heartless woman, how could you abandon me? It's all because of you that I have no father now. If you had willingly stayed with him, he wouldn't have been arrested. I hate you." I stood there quietly watching her at that moment. She looked much younger. Even more beautiful than when she left 3 years ago. I saw the live chat filled with comments calling her heartless, and kind-hearted people were also criticizing her for abandoning her children. I was 12 years old at the time, and my brother was 10, faced with accusations from everyone, including the moral blackmail from those righteous people who said, the children are innocent. She had no choice but to take my brother and me back home. It was only then that I learned she had already started a new family. After she ran away, the man she loved most was still waiting for her. After opening her heart, she married him, and they also had a child of their love, a little girl who had just turned 5 months old. Jo Guangzong had always been doted on by his grandparents and father. He pointed at my mother and yelled, "Throw her away, you can only have me as your child." Yes, in his life since childhood, my father and grandparents had told him that I, his older sister, was his servant. My stepfather was a very kind man. He arranged rooms for us, and the cramped 3-bedroom apartment became even more crowded with my brother and me there. My brother kept crying, which made my sister cry all night too, even in the middle of the night. He sneaked to the bedside and covered the little baby girl in the crib with a pillow. If Mom hadn't discovered it, she would have stopped breathing in another 2 minutes. Mom was very sad and hit him, but he only cursed with more hurtful words. "You're like a dog in front of my dad. If you keep this up, I'll lock you up just like my dad did and have a bunch of uncles beat you. I'm telling you, you can only raise me. And all of this will be mine in the future." That night, my mother's long-buried painful memories were laid bare. I saw the desolation in her eyes, but I couldn't understand it. She left and never came back. It was the security guard on patrol the next day who found her dead on the deserted back hill. See, she was so kind that she didn't even want to trouble anyone in death. So, why bother bringing her back? She already has a wonderful life. After all, little girl. No matter what, he's still your brother. How could you hit him? He's still young. Can you talk things out properly? You're such a heartless girl. She takes after her cold-hearted mother, even laying a hand on her own little brother. I no longer care about the accusations from these people. I grabbed Zhou Guangzhong by the collar and said, "Come home with me." My body is weaker than his, but at this moment, I was so angry that I used every ounce of strength I had. I want to find Mom. She gave birth to us, so she should be responsible. He continued to throw a tantrum, just like in my past life. My attempts to stop him were completely useless, but he doesn't know. I am even more ruthless than in my past life. I slapped him again. Shut up. Under the watchful eyes of the production crew and the big star, I dragged him toward home. Everyone pointed and whispered about me, but I turned a deaf ear. Many aunties in the village are also cursing me. If her grandmother were still alive, she'd have beaten that little wretch to death. Exactly, her precious grandson being bullied like this, she'd probably crawl right out of the ground. Once I got home, I locked my brother in the cowshed, unmoved no matter how much he cried, sitting in the courtyard. I am grateful that I have been reborn. In this life, I don't want my mother anymore. Mom, as long as you live well, that's enough. In my previous life, after my mother passed away, my stepfather had to work while taking care of my little sister. So he couldn't look after us and had to send us to an orphanage, and my brother, upon hearing he was to be sent away, kept cursing him. At the orphanage, my brother liked to fight with the other children, so the director pushed him forward when someone came to adopt. I saw him again when I heard he had caused so much trouble in his adoptive father's home that even his adoptive mother was so angered she died of a heart attack. He was sent back, the second time he was adopted. He made another mistake and was sent to a juvenile detention center. The director breathed a sigh of relief, afraid that he would come back to ruin the orphanage. He wasn't a super male, but he was worse than one, and I was living in a daze. I think, people as filthy as my brother and I have no right to live a good life. We should rot in the dirt, rot in the fields, forever trapped in these mountains, dead in the mud. I will never be able to reconcile with myself, if it weren't for us. She would have been happy. Fortunately, I have a chance to start over. In this lifetime, no one will ever get to ruin her life. Zhou Ponqing, let me out. My grandparents and father may be gone, but I still have my second grandfather. If he finds out how you're treating the descendants of the Zhou family, he'll beat you to death. It stinks in here. Let me out. Zhou Guangzhong kept shouting from inside the cowshed until a crowd of people swarmed into my house. Fine, you wicked girl. How dare you throw your brother into the cowshed? Second grandpa arrived with the film crew, and the cameras were pointed right at my face as everyone criticized me. How could you do such a thing, little girl? He's your own brother. You two really can't take care of yourselves. You're too young. We'll mobilize the whole internet to help find your mom. Grandpa air released Zhou Guangzhong, and I couldn't stop him at all. But I wasn't afraid anymore at that moment. I pointed at the group of people and said, I told you, my mom is already dead. Stop looking for her. My brother can stay with Grandpa Air's family, but I want to go to the orphanage. My brother suddenly jumped out and shouted, You're talking nonsense. Dad said Mom isn't dead. She just ran away. She's heartless and abandoned us. Grandma also said that Mom is a cheap tramp, and we should break her legs so she can't run away. I couldn't hold back and slapped him hard across the face. Shut up. The production team was thrilled because this kind of drama always sparks the most discussion. The show was bound to go viral. The male celebrity Chindu, with millions of fans, quickly picked up my brother. What's wrong with you, girl? How could you treat your brother like that? We were just trying to help you find your mom. Why are you being so unreasonable? I stared at him. If you like him so much, why don't you adopt him yourself? He fell silent instantly. I sneered. I thought you were genuinely kind-hearted, but it turns out you're just a performative personality. In this life, I only fear repeating the same mistakes. I think my depression emerged from the guilt over my mother's death. That illness was like a vine, tightly entangling me in my past life. What am I afraid of now? I'm not afraid of death. I looked at my brother. Why don't you ask this brother to adopt you? He's single. His family is wealthy, and he's so kind, he definitely won't refuse. My brother's eyes lit up, and he quickly wrapped his arms around Chindu's neck. Brother, please adopt me. Chindu's face instantly darkened. He never expected that just trying to be a good person would result in being pestered by this grubby kid. No, several celebrities dare not step forward to bring up the matter of finding their mothers. Naturally, my second grandfather also dared not take in my brother. As he already had 5 grandsons of his own, his son had been arrested. But due to his old age, he did not go to prison. It could be said that out of 10 people in this village, 9 are traffickers, and my mother is the only one who managed to escape and is still alive. She was trafficked here 15 years ago, and not a day has passed without her wanting to leave, but she was caught and brought back several times. It wasn't until my brother was born that she started taking him with her every time she tried to escape. If you say I hate her, well, I did hate her at one point, because I didn't understand why she only took him and ran away, until my brother grew up and understood things. When she tried to take him and run away again, my brother screamed and shouted, and she was caught and brought back. My brother was very proud. From now on, I'll keep an eye on her. She won't be able to abandon Dad. By that time, Grandma was already bedridden and paralyzed, and Grandpa was also seriously ill and unable to get up. She was the one taking care of everything, while my biological father only knew how to hit her. Even so, when she ran away again, she still drugged my brother and took him with her. I never understood why she was so determined. Later, I found out, on the road she fled, there would be a river, and in the river, there were crocodiles. As long as she threw her younger brother down to attract the crocodiles, she could escape. Unfortunately, she was still discovered. I've forgotten how many times she actually ran away. I only remember the last time. She never came back, and in the river, only her coat remained. Many said she died, eaten by a crocodile. I, too, considered her dead. I, too, would rather she had died just like that. Unfortunately, in her previous life, she was still found and brought back. The production team discovered a business opportunity. When my sister and I were together, the number of viewers in the live stream was even higher than when several celebrities appeared together, so they decided to choose my home as their new filming location. The director said they were willing to pay us 500 yuan, treating it as rent. He thought I would refuse, but I agreed. I kept a close eye on Chindu, who is with my brother, if it weren't for him pretending to be kind in my past life. My mother wouldn't have been found by his fans. If my brother is going to die, he won't get off easy either. I smiled. In that case, let my brother be bound to him. At night, my brother slept on the soft bed, while I slept on the stone bed made of rocks. Would you like to be the child of a big star? In the darkness, I asked him. He sat up upon hearing this. What do you mean? Over the years, my grandparents had taught him to understand the pros and cons of situations very well. At 10 years old, he was no longer an innocent child, so he immediately grasped what I was getting at. That big celebrity is a well-known kind-hearted person. As long as you stick to him, he'll take you in as his godson. After that, you'll be able to live in a villa, drive luxury cars, and have many beautiful women surrounding you, serving as your maids. Upon hearing what I said, even in the darkness, I could hear his joyful laughter. You're right, I think he has already figured out how to grasp this lifeline. And with a dark glint in my eyes, Mom, I will make those who bullied you pay the price, including this filthy thing that I am. They should all disappear. The next day, when Chindu and the others were live streaming, they went to plant vegetables, and Zhou Guangzong happily led them to the river to fetch water. A group of people also picked up snails and river clams by the river, and the joyful atmosphere made the live stream viewers envious. Plus, Zhou Guangzong is quite cute. So many people in the live stream really like him. I wonder which heartless woman could abandon such an adorable son. If he were my son, I wouldn't have the heart to do it. He's so cute. He's much smarter than his older sister. Sob sob. How about you adopt him, brother? We're willing to spend money to help you raise him. I agree with the comment above. Every day, all I do is daydream, sometimes staring blankly at my hands. In my past life, they were covered in wounds. Now they are clean and unblemished. The new village chief is a woman. When she arrived, I was lying on the roof, letting the sun beat down on me. She climbed up the small ladder and came to my side. Xiaoxing, you're the only one in our village who hasn't gone to school. Why is that? I glanced at her and shifted to the side, not wanting to get too close. I don't like school. Seeing how wary I was, she moved a little closer to me. If you don't go to school, how will you make a living in the future? Don't worry, the policies are better now. 9 years of compulsory education, tuition free. I glanced at her. I don't need it. You should leave now. But she persisted, sitting beside me and sighing. Your mother must really love you. Shut up. Don't mention her. I glared at her angrily. She just smiled. I heard your name is Zhou Ponqing. In our village, there are so many girls named Pundi, Zhaodi, Xiandi, but you're called Ponqing. Isn't that lovely? I fell silent, waiting with bated breath. You're a very smart child, she said, having somehow appeared beside me. She hooked her arm around my shoulder. Actually, I'm just like you. I lost my mother when I was very young too, but that's exactly why I know I have to rely on myself to survive. I still want to save the world. I glanced at her. Isn't this just crazy? Do you also think I can't save the world? She saw the look in my eyes and laughed. So I came to save this village instead. I was taken aback for a moment. She leaned close to my ear and whispered, I invited the production team. They were just passing through your village, but I deliberately had them expose everything here, and this whole thing, which happened just a day or two ago, I've been planning for 10 years. I looked at her in disbelief. No wonder. How could so many big celebrities possibly come to such a remote village? It was her. I can't save the world. but I can save many people in the future. Would you like to save yourself, just like I did?" Her eyes, like stars, fixed on me. "A golden phoenix can rise from this village because a phoenix once fell here. I know you don't want to save the world, but you do want to save your mother. I think she's terrifying. How does she know everything? In my previous life, I never encountered someone like her. After I was sent to the orphanage, I lived there my whole life, never leaving until I died. No one wanted to adopt me because I self-harmed and was considered a problem. No one saved me, and I couldn't save anyone else. Even if someone approached me, I resisted them, thinking they were all hypocritical. Yet at this moment, she told me that I could save myself, save my mother, and even save more people like me. Go study," she patted my head. "Go see the world." She didn't manage to persuade me. After I tricked her into leaving, my ears were finally at peace. Zhou Guangzong came back overjoyed, saying that many people in the live stream liked him, that Brother Chen even promised to buy him a phone, so he could post videos regularly, make money through live stream sales, and support himself. "That's wonderful," I continued to brainwash him. "Don't let them look for that woman anymore. She has no money. How could she give you a good life? Look at how poor our village is. The number of people who have phones can be counted on one hand, but that big celebrity uses a phone worth over 10,000 yuan. Don't you want to live a life where someone takes care of you? If you go with him, everything he has will be yours in the future." Under my daily brainwashing, my brother pretended to be exceptionally well behaved, making everyone like him. He's not super masculine, he's just too smart. Of course, that trait comes from that woman, but sometimes being too clever backfires, and they all fall into that trap. The next day, Zhou Guangzong went with them to the mountains to livestream picking mushrooms, while I stayed at home. The village chief came again. I learned her name. She is called Zhao Jinshu. "You must go to school, right now. In the whole village, you're the only child of the right age who hasn't gone. Why don't you go find Zhou Guangzong?" I looked at her. "He has already registered. The production team said that after they leave, Guangzong will be able to attend school. Recently, they need his cooperation, and besides," she hesitated for a moment, "he has a better future, and your future can only depend on yourself." She could also see that Zhou Guangzong was more likable, and with that face, he might even debut as a child star. Moreover, she had gone to find Zhou Guangzong and asked him to go to school. He scolded her, saying she wanted to stop him from becoming the child of a big star. Buddha doesn't save fools. She didn't want to say anything more to him. The reason she wanted to find me was probably because she thought we were very similar. I tricked her into leaving again, because I really don't want to study. I don't deserve it. Zhou Guangzong always speaks ill of me when he's live streaming with them, but I don't really care. As long as I can stop him from finding his mother, my rebirth won't have been in vain. But I'm really fed up with Zhao Jinshu. Even though I told her the same things Zhou Guangzong said, she still refuses to give up. For a whole month, she came to see me every single day. I really don't get it. What's the point of her wasting time on a loser like me? It's worth it, she said, looking at me with determination. I seriously suspect she's trying to win me over. Just like in those web novels I read in my past life, until Chengdu announced he would adopt Zhou Guangzong, Trash finally sympathizes with Trash. Although he is the child of a kidnapper, many people say that children are innocent, so his existence has drawn more attention. When I saw these messages, I just found it laughable. We are not innocent at all. We are all accomplices in hurting her. It should never have existed, sister. A lazy good-for-nothing like you should just stay in this village forever. Zhou Guangzong laughed happily. I will live a life you could never dream of. If that woman comes to claim me, I won't acknowledge her. I want her to regret abandoning me, and I know, I can't kill him. Forget it. If he lives a good life, maybe he won't cause trouble anymore. On the day Zhou Guangzong left, the Zhou family's collateral branches were overjoyed. My second grandfather said he was willing to take me in and let me move into his house. I absolutely won't go. I know full well he wants to marry me off for a dowry, but I want to stay in this house, and I want to die here too. Zhao Jinshu came to find me just when all the food in my house was gone, and I was thinking of ending my life. I thought, starving to death like this would be fine, yet she asked me, "Do you still want to see her?" I looked at Zhao Jinshu, and my eyes instantly lit up. If you don't want to be a burden to her, then become her pride. Even if you never meet again, let her know that you never resented her and that you cherish the life she gave you. You are not dirty, and neither is she. The ones who are dirty are those bad people. I don't know why, but when I heard those words, it felt like my heart had been struck. I looked at her and said, I want to study, not wanting to be her burden. I will become her pride, even if we never acknowledge each other. Let her know that I exist because of her, and I cherish the life she has given me. Zhao Jinshu was very happy and immediately arranged for me to move into the dormitory. When I left the village, I thought I might never return here. It's too dirty here. At school, no one knows my background. Everyone just wants to study hard. Even the events from that variety show livestream have gradually been forgotten. And I am completely focused on my studies. I have fallen far, far behind. So while others were playing, I was studying. During summer vacation, I was also taking extra classes. It was Zhao Jinshu who helped me with her salary. She became my guardian. She is also very busy, but she never fails to pay attention to me. When I ranked within the top 100 in my grade, she bought me a cake. That was the third time I tasted cake. It was indeed delicious. During the high school entrance exam, she also accompanied me. Sometimes I would prop my head up and ask her, "Are you my mom?" She burst out laughing. I don't have a daughter that old. Yes, she was only 28 years old. How could she have a 16-year-old daughter? My performance on the high school entrance exam was average, barely enough to get into the second-tier high school, but she was overjoyed because I had never really studied before. Before starting school, I was only in first grade. Then, in the second year, I skipped 6 grades. And in the third year, I entered 8th grade. By the 4th year, I was in 9th grade. She said I was very smart, and I must have inherited it from my mother, who was like a golden phoenix. After I started high school, she became even busier because she was promoted from village chief to county party secretary. Well, I accidentally became a high-ranking official. She never got married, saying she had more important things to do, and at the age of 16, I became her adopted daughter. I never mentioned my identity in class, because everyone was too busy focused on preparing for the college entrance exams. Because I was so busy, throughout my 3 years of high school, I felt like my previous life was just a dream. It was as if none of it had ever existed, and under her radiance, I became a sunny girl, with depression now far, far away from me. Just when I thought my life seemed to be full of brightness, my brother found me, in the coffee shop. He wore a baseball cap and black sunglasses, hiding from the paparazzi and fans. His voice was icy. "Sister, it's been a long time." I looked at him, who had already grown taller than me, feeling a bit regretful. I should have slapped him a few more times back then. Now I can't beat him. He had also become a big star, riding on Chengdu's coattails to build his future. I found her. He gave me a mischievous grin. "What do you think? Should we go see her?" "No." I slammed my cup down on the table. "Zhou Guangzong, you are not to disturb her life." Zhou Guangzong lounged lazily, getting worked up. "You knew all along she wasn't dead, and you knew exactly where she was, didn't you?" I stared at him. I said, "You are not to disturb her life, I insist." His dark eyes fixed on me, and I seemed to see the same look in my father's eyes when he raised a stick to strike me. "She abandoned us. Why should she get to live a good life herself? She has another daughter. She left us to raise someone else. She abandoned Dad, yet she married someone else. I won't let her have it easy." Watching him in his hysterics, I really wanted to end it all and start over, so that when I see him again, I can take him down with me. I thought that once his life improved, he would stop bothering her. He truly is of that breed, just like him. Born a bad seed. I clenched my fists. She has her own life. She finally broke free from the cage. "Why did you have to harm her?" But he roared, "Ha! Who told her to give birth to me? Do you think I wanted to be born? Do you know how I got through it?" She ran away. "But what about me, living under someone else's roof, living like a dog?" I stared at him. "Chengdu, wasn't it you who caused his death? You've taken everything from him. What more could you possibly want?" Upon hearing this, his expression stiffened. Yes, Chengdu is dead. He died of a heart condition. I know this because in my previous life, my brother's adoptive mother died of a heart disease. When the media reported that Chengdu died of a heart disease, I knew it was Zhou Guangzong's doing. In my previous life, his adoptive mother abused him, so he bought medicine and slowly wore down her health. Chengdu, who appears kind on the surface but is actually a vicious wolf, would not treat Zhou Guangzong well. Zhou Guangzong appears glamorous on the surface, but behind the scenes, he is bullied by Chengdu. So, how could he possibly let Chengdu live? He never shows mercy to those who harm him. His wickedness is ingrained in his bones. Don't go disturb her. You live your life, I'll live mine, and she'll live hers. Otherwise, don't blame me for exposing what you've done. You know, I have nothing to lose, and it would be easy to ruin you. You're shining brightly now, with a promising future ahead. Don't be foolish. I know how terrifying my smile must look at this moment. Zhou Guangzong clenched his fists, staring at me. I don't go by Zhou Guangzong anymore. I hate that name. I understand. Zhou Guangzong. He glared at me with a sinister look, then stood up and left. After he left, I sat in the chair, rubbing my temples, thinking if he hurts her, I will make him pay the price. I have been reborn, only to protect her. On the day of the college entrance exam, Zhao Jinshu accompanied me to the school. Don't be nervous, I'll be waiting for you at the gate. I'll pick you up and drop you off for these 3 days. She hugged me, her smile radiant. I looked at her face and nodded. When I received the college entrance exam papers, I calmly completed them. On the day the college entrance exam ended, I met someone, the woman who often appeared in my dreams. She stood not far away, holding a little girl by the hand. With just one glance, I felt as if my entire life had blossomed with flowers. So this is how much I've missed you, Mom. Zhao Jinshu hugged me. Come on, I'll take you to eat something delicious. Finally, we can relax a bit. I hugged her back. Thank you, Mom. Her body was stiff, and we hugged for a long time. When we let go, I noticed her eyes were red, and I didn't understand why, but she touched my face and said, I'm so happy to hear you call me Mom. I just smiled and replied, so, it took you this long to finally warm me up. She held my hand. Yes. You really are like a stone in the latrine, stubborn and unyielding. Back when I urged you to study, I nearly ran my legs off, and all these years, with you studying every day, I've been worried you'd study yourself silly. What child says they won't study and then suddenly studies themselves to death? I held her hand, the sunlight stretching our shadows long. Before the college entrance exam results came out, she took leave and spent 3 days with me. That was the limit of her vacation. She was too busy. Because of her presence, the entire county has not had a single case of women and children being trafficked for 3 years. The surveillance cameras in the shadows don't capture traffic violations, they only capture the people passing by. Cheonan County has transformed from a county notorious for trafficking women and children into a developing county. Many people have also come to invest. There is also considerable discussion about her online. As a woman who has reached such heights inevitably faces a torrent of malicious speculation, yet she remains unfazed, continuing to do practical work for everyone. Many have tried to dig up dirt on her, but she seems like a crafted character, so perfect that no flaws can be found. She lives frugally herself, using her salary to support impoverished women and girls. I think she's so perfect she doesn't seem human. Fortunately, I get to see her every day, so I know she truly exists. On the day the college entrance exam results came out, she checked the scores with me. When we saw the blank screen, we exchanged a glance. She immediately hugged me and burst into tears. That's wonderful, baby. Your life is finally on a path of flowers, with freedom in every direction from now on. I was stunned as she hugged me. You're a government official. How can you cry so easily? She smiled through her tears. Who says officials can't cry? My daughter can now choose between Tsinghua and Peking University. Can't I be happy about that? I wiped her tears away. Yes, you can get into Tsinghua or Peking, but not the University of Science and Technology of China, because my biological father is in prison. The political vetting would never pass. Her smile faltered, then she looked at me seriously. If you want, I'll think of a way. Forget it, I shrugged. You can't bend the law for personal gain. I'm afraid you'll get caught. I'm also afraid that I'll become her only stain. I have already become another woman's lifelong disgrace. She patted my head. You're overthinking it. That man was executed many years ago. Your household registration is with me, so there's still a way. Back then, that man only received a suspended death sentence. It was only after she joined forces with several others to appeal that he was sentenced to death and executed immediately. I shook my head. To have come this far already feels like a dream. Yes, I never imagined that after all these years of hard work, I would actually receive a reward. I always remember her words, if you don't want to be a burden to her, then become her pride. Even if you never meet again, our way of celebrating was eating small cakes. And I don't know why she insisted on buying them for me. She also gave me some money to travel, but I saved that money and took a summer job instead. It was also at the shop where I worked that I encountered Zhou Guangzong, who was being chased by fans and ran inside. Oh, he's now called Qinjue, and I, when registering Zhao Jinshu's household registration, also changed my surname to Zhao, when I bumped into him with my coffee cup. I glanced at the people squeezing in through the door and lifted the curtain to the back kitchen. Go inside. He paused slightly, then walked inside. The group of fans rushed over, and I pointed toward the back door. He went that way. They chased after him again. He came out from the back kitchen, and several colleagues nearby were screaming, he's so handsome. He's really so handsome. You can imagine how beautiful his mother must be. Yet he looked at me and said, Sis, I heard you got into Tsinghua. I glanced at him, my expression calm. I chose Peking University. Holy crap, Panqing, he's your brother. You're one surnamed Qin, the other surnamed Zhao. How could you possibly be siblings? Panqing, Zhue, your names are just too perfect. All the colleagues were starry-eyed. Why didn't you say this big star is your younger brother? Really, no wonder he looks familiar, quite like you. I glanced at him. Hurry up and leave. You're affecting our work. He sat down at the table. I'm here to spend money. I couldn't figure him out. always feeling he wasn't a good person. A colleague went to order drinks for him, but he just stared at me. Let me handle it. He's as stubborn as an ox. I slapped the menu in front of him. Order. He lowered his head and placed the order. Can you sit with me for a while? No, I'm at work. Then I'll wait for you to get off work. I looked at him, always feeling like he was up to something. My colleagues all found it strange. With my brother making so much money, why was I still working a summer job? I didn't explain, just thinking back to that year when I had no intention of living at all, so I didn't care what the future would hold, no matter how brilliant he is. It has nothing to do with me. After work, he walked with me on the street. I went to see her, he said. I slapped him across the face and grabbed him by the neck. Zhou Guangzong, I told you, don't disturb her life. He covered his face and chuckled. Look at you, getting worked up again. I'm not joking with you. I tightened my grip, really wanting to strangle him. I saw her, but she didn't see me. I let go of him. You really are asking for it. Say it all at once, and you won't get slapped by me, because I really miss the days when my sister used to slap me. I glanced at him, momentarily speechless. You're right, she has her own life. He murmured to himself. I should also pay the price for what I've done. What do you mean? I stopped and looked at him. People hurried past, walking around us. He bent over slightly. Sis, I feel so dirty. I turned my head to look at him. Sis, I'm sorry to you. Sorry to her. He laughed. Actually, I'm really tired of living. He patted my shoulder. You're really short. He finished with a smile. I'm leaving. Goodbye, sis. I watched his retreating figure, thinking he was being inexplicable, and in the evening, a hot search exploded. Chinjua committed suicide by hanging. Explosive. I quietly looked at this trending topic, wondering why it was suicide by hanging. Could it be that, like me, he has been reborn? Zhao Jinshu left work early to comfort me, but I acted as if nothing was wrong because, to me, his life or death had nothing to do with me, but I never expected that woman would come knocking on my door. Zhao Jinshu left the space for us. I looked at her, adorned with pearls and jewels, and a genuine smile appeared in my eyes. Hello, Ms. Li. Li Jingrong sat across from me. Why, did he commit suicide? I poured her a cup of tea. I don't know, maybe he had done too many bad things and couldn't go on living. Li Jingrong looked at me. Do you hate me? My hand paused. Then, do you hate me? Hate, she said. That's why I've always known of your existence but never met you. I nodded. Thank you, you gave me this life. But I don't hate you. She fell silent for a moment, finished her cup of tea, and stood up. In that case, I hope you live well. I walked her to the door. With her back to me, she said, although I feel that giving birth to you has made me dirty and miserable, but at this moment, you are also the pride I hold deep in my heart. Congratulations, Pan Xing, you have waited for your star, and it has lit up the path of your life. It was never you who was dirty. She left, and I stood there, tears streaming down my face. Mom, thank you for saving me. At this moment, I have finally made peace with my life. I turned around and saw Zhao Jinshu standing not far away, smiling at me. I ran over and hugged her. Thank you, Mom. She also held me, her gaze filled with tenderness. Zhao Jinshu's extra story. I am a strategist, with a small world that has already collapsed many times. It was caused by a little girl whose only purpose in life was to keep her mother alive. Because of this obsession, she was reborn 8 times. And my colleagues also tried to win her over 8 times, without a single success. The heavenly Tao couldn't stand it any longer and directly sent me over, saying that saving her would also resolve a long-standing doubt of mine. But when I arrived in this world, I was also affected by its oppressive atmosphere, as if I had lived in this world before. I watched the little girl send her brother off on the path to stardom, while she only wanted to starve herself to death. She is sentimental, as if uninterested in everything. No matter how I try to persuade her, she just won't strive to improve, so I targeted her sore spot, and sure enough, mentioning her mother gave her motivation. But why does my heart ache too when I mention her mother? She seemed to see right through me, asking if I was a strategist. Young lady, how could I possibly tell you the truth? With the help of the heavenly Tao, it felt like I was on a winning streak, rising all the way to the top. I could use my power to protect this small world, shaping it into the vision of my dreams, until she finally decided not to die. She lived to become the person I am proud of. Only then did I realize, she is my biological daughter. In one lifetime, I hanged myself, tormented by those memories, unable to face life in them. I chose to leave this world, but the heavenly Tao, seeing my misery, sent me to many sweet worlds to live a good life. It even altered my memories, until I saw her again. I remembered the name Panqing. Back then when we went to register her household registration, they wanted to change her name to Pundi. I was thinking, why should a person's name carry expectations for another life? Fortunately, I had knowledge, and I made that person change the name. although I later suffered a beating. So what? She has a beautiful name, although she is not liked by me, not expected by me, and even despised by me, yet she is a person. The people in this small world are not few, so the original me, Li Jingrong, also exists. Panxing truly protected me, she protected that extremely fragile me, she made peace with her own future, and I made peace with my past, and now, as a stronger person, I can protect her with this identity. It wasn't her fault. The fault lies with the sinner. After meeting Li Jingrong, I also made peace with myself. As for Zhou Guangzong's death, I remained unmoved, because long ago when I escaped, I had already wanted him to be fed to the crocodiles, because he was just too similar to that disgusting thing. He couldn't empathize with me, and I couldn't empathize with him either. Is he pitiable? I don't know. I only know that on this path, there are rights and wrongs, and there is no perfect answer. Let it be, some things, if pondered too deeply, might cause you to miss the scenery of life. Tian Dao later told me that Zhou Guangzong hanged himself because he had been reborn. In his previous life, after his sister was gone, he became twisted. Because he had been in prison, he lived even more repressed. So after being reborn, he went to see Li Jingrong, and even though she clearly saw him, she pretended not to know him. Even if he could offer her a better life, she would still prefer to work a job that pays 3,000 a month, without needing a single cent from him. The pain from 2 lifetimes piled up in his heart, especially during the days he was adopted, when he lived a life worse than that of pigs and dogs. He said it was his retribution. After taking some unclean substances, in his madness, he chose to end his life, and he didn't want another chance to start over. He said that the only regret in his life was that he wished the name Jiu had been given to him by his mother. He never got to wait for it, and he never will. After hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.